First key thing is, why do we get blisters? Three causes: friction, heat, and moisture. And it's not really something you can just fully get away with. You can't just get away with moisture with your feet randomly. In fact, your feet have about 250,000 sweat glands in them, and each one produces roughly a cup of sweat each day in normal circumstances. Pretty gross. And if you think then hiking, if you're adding on that, that's a lot of sweat that's getting produced from your feet. Can't really get rid of that, but there are ways to reduce it. Key thing, and it's probably the biggest thing that is going to work, is getting the right socks. If you're going out in these, thick, woolen socks over summer, your feet are going to sweat like crazy. And that's just, recipe for disaster. A lot more moisture, a lot more heat. Your feet are probably going to have a lot more friction in these thick socks as well. So, you're definitely likely going to get some blisters. So picking the right sock is a key thing. Certain designs I'd look out for. If you ever find a sock, and I talked about this last time, that has a R and an L, that just means it's a left and right sock. So they're shaped for each foot. Generally, that means that's going to be a slightly better sock, as in it's designed for that shape of the foot, so it might hold a bit better. But don't worry if you don't find that. There's still really good socks that are designed to hold really well, have extra reinforcement around the heel, no outer seams like on the inside that are going to cause that rubbing. So again, Thorlos, even though they don't have left and right specific, fantastic socks, and really, good ones. We're going to look at weight. So if I'm going out hiking in summer, I'm going to really want the most breathable socks I can get. I'm not going to go out in thick warm ones. They're just going to make my feet sweat. So the weight of the socks are really key. Icebreaker, we've got these thick mountaineering socks. Now, it's pretty much in the name, mountaineering. I'm going to use those for mountaineering. I'm not going to take those for a light summer hike. Material is really important. Key thing I'd say for that is avoid cotton. Pretty much I avoid cotton for anything when I'm hiking. Once cotton's wet, stays wet, draws out your heat. But because it stays wet and then doesn't hold firm, bunches up, causes that friction. Not a good thing to have. So avoid cotton. Either looking like our Thorlos have really good synthetic options. So what you'll find with that is, they might smell a bit faster than a merino blend, but they're still going to hold really firm. They don't collapse with moisture as well. So they're very hard to get that bunching, which will cause that friction. They'll wick away moisture and they'll dry really fast. Or if you're going merino over summer, just try to go for those really lightweight merino synthetic blends. But looking out for those materials and making sure there's no cotton, very key thing. Depends on the material. Now, I've had many arguments with my partner over this, because I've got a lot of merino socks, and if I catch her putting them in the dryer, I'm not too happy. I tend to follow the washing instructions on them. Different ones with different fibers, I guess, will vary. So I can't say exactly which one. Some are sweet to put in the dryer. I try to air dry everything I can, but merino specifically, I really wouldn't put in the dryer. I wouldn't recommend it. I tend to find it's quite an old school thing, sock liners. Some people might disagree. This is my personal experience. I've never had to use them. I just go for the right socks straight away, and I've got a lot of socks, so I've got them for all different conditions. But if you've got that one thick pair of socks that you've had for a long time, you don't want to get rid of them, but you find that they're not wicking away moisture, definitely worth trying some liner socks, adding to them. If you've got a boot, it could be a fantastic boot. You might have spent $700 on it. It's amazing. But if it's slightly too small and all your toes are pushed in together, that's going to cause them to move around and push against and cause that friction with the sweat. And you're going to get hot spots. You're going to get blisters. So you don't want a boot that's slightly too small. Now, if you go for a boot that's too big, allows that foot to just move around in there and rub up against the side, you're going to get blisters. Getting the perfect fit that has your foot nice and secure, heel locked in place and toes to be able to wiggle around, It's a very key thing. But otherwise, yeah, don't go too big, don't go too small. Come into store to get them fitted. And say that we've still got problems. Say the sizing's right, you can't get a better size, but you've got heel slippage. So your heel's rising up, you're getting hot spots in your heels. There are other ways to prevent that. One thing we can do with that is another step of prevention to keep that foot locked in place is we can change the laces. So with the lower ones here, I've already pre-done this just to save the hassle of trying to do a lace on a camera. We've done this quite a simple but heel lock system. So as you can see, we've done the normal lacing right through here, and then as soon as we hit that instep sort of point, we get that raise. We've done like a double loop, so you just cross over the laces twice, like you would before you're starting to lace up the boots, and then we go around the first lot of eyelets. And what this does is it pushes and really holds that in a lot firmer than just a normal lacing system, which can kind of loosen off and have a bit of give. That was the one lacing technique. Another one, this is a really popular one for New Zealand, is where people need an extra little bit of width for their foot. So it comes up a lot. People just find that it might be too tight around here. This technique here allows us to still be able to pull in the laces really tight. You know, we don't just want to loosen off the whole lace to create more space for that width, but by having this sort of gap here, this box, and missing that crossover, means when you do pull them, it's not pulling it too tight through here, but we can still then, and we can do that lacing system with a heel hook as well, so it holds it secure, but then allows just an extra bit of room at the front of the foot there. 3 steps with breaking them in. The first one I really would emphasize is don't take them outside straight away. Wear them inside for different reasons. It's good to give your feet a bit of time to sort of warm into the boots. You don't just want to go in and put too much pressure on your feet straight away. So you have that bit of time inside, end of the day as well, once your feet have have swelled up. But it's that little bit of time of going, oh, okay, I've worn them inside for an hour, and actually now there's something that's happening that's not quite right, and I do need that half size different, or I need to talk about it. At least by trying them inside, you'll find it's a very easy thing to then bring them back to look at a different size. As soon as you wear them outside, I don't know many companies that are going to then allow you to return it. So it's a very key thing to try them inside first. Now, once you've tried them inside and they're sweet, and you go, yep, these are feeling good, take them for a walk around the block. Don't go too hardcore at that point. Just get out there, walk around the block a few times, clock up some light Ks, but again, just ease into it. Breaking in boots. Okay, so once you're comfortable with walking through the streets, take them outdoors and then take them from there. Get plenty of Ks and then plan your trip. Make sure you do it weeks beforehand as well. Breaking in synthetic boots, most of the time is very fast and quite easy. Sometimes it's not even needed. Because synthetics generally are a lot softer, offering more flex. You're looking at, for leather boots, 30 to 50 Ks of walking in them before I'd say they're comfortably broken in. Synthetics, again, can be a lot quicker. It just depends what you need it for. Synthetics going to break in a lot quicker, but aren't going to be as durable or offer the same longevity as leather. So, it's just weighing those things up. One really key thing is look at the manufacturing of the boots. Different brands have different sort of things they actually have to follow, or suggestions with cleaning. Some places don't recommend using a fat or oil-based product or cleaning thing. So look at the actual manufacturing and the cleaning instructions for each brand. Generally though, with them after really any hike, start off, and as you can see, mine is still a little bit dirty, but I'm going to go in with a brush and brush off any loose dirt, in bits and pieces. So for an outer sole, I could use a nice dense, sort of dense bristle brush, quite a firm one to get all of that off. For around here though, on that leather, I would try to go for a really nice soft brush, but to brush off all that loose dirt. From there, I'm going to get a warm, damp cloth. I'm going to just fully wipe it down. I'm going to rinse out the outside. You remove the laces, remove the inner sole, I'll fully rinse out the inside as well, get rid of all that salt and bacteria from your sweat, and then straight into cleaning products. Really key one and a very universal one is the cleaning gel. So leather, synthetic, doesn't matter, but it's a nice wee sponge that after you've brushed your boot, you've wiped it down, you've got it kind of as clean as you can with just a basic sort of rinse. You're going to get this and you're going to push it in, break the seal, and you're going to massage this all the way through to get rid of all that salt, bacteria, dirt and grime. You're even going to go through the inside as well. So you get it in there, go through the whole inside. After you've done that, you're going to wipe it off. And then for, say, this boot, because this is a full grain leather, I'm going to go for a leather conditioner. So I've cleaned it, but it's still nice and wet. So the leather's quite open. So then the conditioner can absorb really well. So pretty much the same thing with this one. Nice wee sponge, and I'm going to go through that boot. Now, especially for leather, what you're going to get by cleaning and conditioning that is a really soft, supple leather. So it's going to stay kind of moist and soft, and it's going to allow that movement with your foot, which is the key thing for blister prevention. So not only it's going to have the longevity of increasing the life, stop them from cracking and things like that and drying out, but it's going to allow that boot to continue to be molded to your foot and not get too rigid, which is that key thing for blister prevention. Again, look into it a bit more. This is just a sort of basic thing of what I do. But really, after any hike, give them a clean and store them in a nice dry place. Chuck some like a newspaper or paper towels in there to help speed up that drying process, but don't force dry them. Okay, so don't put them by a heater, don't put them by a fire. Just keep them in a nice, dry, airy place. For me, I've got a nice, dry, hot water sort of cupboard, which works perfectly for me. It's not too hot. But yeah, don't put them right by a fire or a heater, or even out in the sun. It's getting over 30 degrees, in summer. That's enough to really do some damage on your boots. So definitely avoid that. Key things with now treating blisters is really if you're starting to feel one, get to it straight away. As soon as you feel a hot spot, have and always take with you like a blister prevention kit. The blister plasters or some nice tape, some really firm tape, and get to it as soon as possible. If a small one develops, don't pop it. Let the fluid do its job. It's there to help repair, but just cover it up and try to keep any sort of movement from it. But yeah, blister plasters are a key thing. I've had to use them before, and they're great. They help a lot. If you've got such a massive blister, everything's gone wrong, and you can't walk, that would be the time I would drain it just so you can actually then get to where you need to go. Generally, if you're getting hot spots like under the arch or around that point, I would say we probably want to elevate that arch a bit more and have it sitting firm. So it might be changing out the inner sole, I've got one here as well. So like with the cedar inner soles, like these ones offer that really nice heel cup, but they've got this reinforced arch support through there to really hook that and keep that more in place. So also, giving you more support, but because of that sort of ergonomic design, it does help also keep that foot in place instead of just a flat inner sole, which allows that foot to spread and then might find a bit of movement going on. So it could be changing the inner sole. I would definitely, if you're having a lot of issues, I would say, and you've not found something that's worked, take your shoes, come into one of the Torpedo7 stores and have a chat with us. And then we'll probably look at either changing the lacing, seeing if you've got the right size, but we'll probably go through a full setup. That would be doing your best to have a breathable sock and just reducing the heat. So it might be that your boots are too warm, and then that your socks are too warm, so it's just increasing the breathability. Often, and this is something I was going to get into a bit later, but wee little tips when you're hiking, stop and let your feet breathe. Take your feet out, or if they're wet, let them dry out. Some people generally just get hotter feet. I'm actually one of them. I get very hot, quite sweaty feet. It's really gross. So yeah, when I'm hiking, out in the bush, anytime I can, if I'm stopping for like half an hour, I will take my boots off, I'll take my socks off, and I just let my feet breathe. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you out there.